hesitating. When you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Fearless, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Hello. Good evening. It's turned out to be a very nice Saturday. Gets a hit in the mid to upper 60s. Mother's Day is supposed to be really nice, and nice clear day. And I hope everything is going well with you. Today's topic is going to be a good one. Well, they're all good. All my topics are good. But it'll discuss a little bit of a problem I'm having now with today's market and the fears that my new buyers have. So this is going to be a good one. Hopefully we get some good points out of this one. And let's begin with the introduction. All right. So today we're going to talk about why waiting a year to buy a home could cost you a small fortune. Now, with buyers I'm working right now, they're getting discouraged. And they're getting discouraged because when they ask me to show them these properties that they like, they're already in contract. When we go, there's already multiple offers on the homes, and they're going for highest and best. And across the country, a lot of people are putting in offers higher than the asking price, and even guaranteeing. This is what I read the other day on Inman, which is basically a real estate website with articles geared for the real estate professional. And there are people who are actually guaranteeing. They say, "Hey, I'll pay $6,000 above the appraised price," which we've never had anything like that before. So it's extremely competitive. So my buyers who definitely have to move, they want to go into a new home. They're either on a transfer, either with the military or with a job transfer. I have a young man who just got approved, and he wants to move out and get his house, and he's biting at the bit. But I have a couple people who they have a house already. They wanted to move up. They want to take advantage of the low mortgage rates, and they're saying, they think the market is too high, what they're asking for, and they don't want to get involved with this bidding process of going higher. So that's the situation right now with that. And unfortunately, I have a lot of people who want to buy and they're qualified, and they're just getting tired of these bidding wars, and with going out there and finding that there's multiple contracts on it already. And again, it's a situation where either you have the money saved up. There's a lot of people, because of COVID-19 and within the last year, they didn't spend a lot of money. They didn't go to Europe or traveling throughout the United States. That would cost a couple of thousands of dollars, maybe up to $10,000. They didn't really spend money going out weekly to dinners. They might have had a lot of home delivery of food from fast food places, but they didn't really do the big ticket fancy restaurants, or going out to having drinks at a bar, at a club, going to different events, going to shows. I'm originally from New York. If you went out to a show, not only did you have to pay for the expensive Broadway tickets, right? But if you drove in with your car, your parking was extremely expensive as well. That's what I love about where I am now. I mean, they really don't overcharge you. A lot of times you have free parking. Now you don't have the Broadway of New York City. Okay, I'm more of a classical music guy, me and my wife, and there's plenty of venues down here. We have the Chrysler Hall in Norfolk. We have the Sandler Center in Virginia Beach, and we have the Ferguson Center at Christopher Newport University. My wife and I are actually going to a classical concert this Friday there. So it's been a long time, now they're beginning to open up and we could see these shows. So people who would have spent money throughout this year, and I'm talking about cultural events, there's also the football games and the baseball games and the basketball games, right? So a lot of people, because of this, they didn't go out, they didn't travel, they have a lot of extra cash on hand. So that's why they're bidding above the asking price, and even giving a guarantee that if the house doesn't appraise for that higher contracted price, they'll bring in the cash. So it's a very different time. Now, what we're going to talk about is that what mostly will happen if the economy stays strong, and I believe it will, and as long as we get out of this tunnel, we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel of this COVID-19 problem, which we are doing. I'm going to say, among many other people involved with real estate, with mortgages, economists, that home prices will mostly still increase. Okay. Now, there'll be a point where we'll stop. Okay. And that point will happen when it stops, which most likely will happen. Mortgage rates will most likely increase as well. Okay. Now, it's not going to go up to 5%, 6%, 7%. It's going to go up in increments. We're in the threes right now, 3.5, between 3.25, 3.5, 3.75. I'll stay in there. Still very comfortable rates, but it won't be these fantastic deals that you got, last year and starting now. They're already creeping up, the rates. So as those rates go up, people who were saying, okay, now I'll wait or I'll take my time to find a house. And we're going to see houses stay on the market a little bit longer. Right now, they're off the market in 35 to 45 days. It's unbelievable, okay? But they will stay on the market a little bit longer. And if they do and they're not moving, then we see sellers dropping their prices a little bit, okay? Now, that most likely will happen. I'm not putting that in stone. Okay, there's a lot of different things that could change the movement of the economy, right? Okay, I mean, if we don't get out of this problem, or we also have now a problem where we don't have enough workers. And they're not going back. I'm driving all around Hampton, Newport News. I see signs in the windows, help wanted. They need people, mostly in the food industries, the hospitality industries, the restaurants, the hotels. They need people back now. But some say, with the extra unemployment that the people are receiving, now it's 300 above. Last year was 600 above. That they're saying, I'm not going to chance it and go back right now while I could still get this good money. And what's happening too is that when you go on unemployment insurance, you have to show that you're looking for a job. So every week you send the information on to employers that you either sent out a resume, that you had an interview. But right now they're not doing that. They're just, because they said the economy is bad, they're just going to leave it and saying you're on it. You don't have to prove that you're looking because there's no jobs out there. But there are now, especially for these industries, the food services, for the hospitality industry, for factory workers. Now, one way to help that situation, and I might get some people upset who are listening, but we need to do that, is we have to increase the minimum wage. Okay, we have to do that, and I'm going to say that. I'll put it out there. $7.25. I think that's what it is right now. It's much too low for today's inflation. It's just much too low, and maybe not every state has to go up to $15 an hour, depending on the. I'm getting I had a problem with Restream today, so I'm trying to get rid of this. Okay. Maybe not every state has to go up to 15, but a lot do. And to attract the workers, if there may be increase in prices so people could live on $15 an hour, I mean, that may happen. That might have to happen. It's just the fact of life. We don't want to see people, well, putting themselves in a rough situation. So that's my situation. I know every time I post, especially on social media, that it should go higher, and there's always people who come back and saying, uh, these companies won't be in business if they have to do that, and it should be based upon their skills. And people, if they're going to be making $15 an hour, they'll never advance themselves. They'll never go to college, And the thing is, the prices of college right now is unbelievable high. Even at $15 an hour, it's difficult to pay for a college tuition. So, years ago when education was a lot cheaper, okay, when I went to undergraduate, school, and then for my master's, yes, but not now. It's just too expensive. When I went for my degrees, a textbook was like $30-$40. Now they're up to $150. It's outrageous. All right, so people think you pay a worker who's in a factory $15 an hour, they're going to have the life of Riley, and that's an old saying. You got to be another guy to know that. But it will be just making ends meet. They're not going to be living, having a house with a pool, and buying a boat. They're not going to be like that. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. But that will be one way we may have to go that way. Employers may have to go that way, and bringing back people to work at their restaurants, at their factories, at their hotels. They may just have to do that and bring it up to attract them. One thing, the people who are servers, they're able legally, through each state, they could be paid below the $7.25 an hour, in hopes that they're working in a restaurant and where they make good tips. But you might have a bad night. You might be in a restaurant that really doesn't. People there are not leaving big tips. Okay, so this whole thing of working even below a $7.25, I think it's absurd. I mean, I really think it is. So, and this is what we're at this pivotal point that we may have to go that way to raise the minimum wage to keep these workers in. Okay, I'll just leave it like that. So, again, if everything goes well, and if mortgage rates go up as long as prices, then your monthly mortgage payments will most likely increase. So even with the graphic I have here, and let me just move it down a little bit. So they have here where I'm going to read here where will home prices be a year from now? If you average the most recent projections. Okay, let me go back to here. If you average the most recent projections from the major industry forecasters, the expectations is home prices will increase by 7.7%. Let's take that house that valued today at $325. Okay, so we're going to break down the costs that are involved. If the buyer makes a 10% down payment of $32,500, they'll end up borrowing $2,900 to $500 for their mortgage. Applying the projected rate of home price appreciation, that same house will cost $350,025 next year, with a 10% down payment of $35,003. Then they would have to borrow $315,022. Therefore, as a result of rising home prices, a prospective buyer will have to put down an additional $2,503 and borrow an additional $22,523, just waiting a year to make a move. And then they're going to show you down here, and let me just move it down just a little bit. And they're saying where mortgage rates will be in a year from now. So today's mortgage rates are hovering around 3%. However, most experts believe they'll rise as the economy continues to recover. Any increase in the mortgage rate will also increase the purchaser's costs. Here are the forecasts of the first quarter of 2022 from 4 major entities. And so we have Freddie Mac, 3.5%, Fannie Mae, 3.5%, and these are the two big loans that are used in this area besides VA. And the National Association of Realtors say 3.5, and the Mortgage Bankers Association is really bringing it up a lot higher, and they think they bring it to 3.9. So actually, without going through all the rest of this handout, okay, it's quite evident that your monthly mortgage payment will be a lot higher. In fact, I think they're actually going to show you what they are. So the first, if you bought the house today, your mortgage payment would be $1,233, and if you bought it a year from now, it would be, and they're using here a rate of 3.6. It would be $1,432, so almost $200 more. Okay, so it's a good idea to try to jump aboard now as a buyer, as these prices and rates increase. I think once we get to the point where we're completely out of COVID-19 and sellers are more comfortable with putting their homes on the market, then it'll either level off where these home prices and going into 2022 will no longer go higher. May they recede a little bit? Not so sure. I don't know. There would have to be a real flood of homes on the market for the prices to come down. Okay. Now, I've seen articles where they're discussing whether or not there'll be another burst of the bubble like we had in 2007. I don't think we'll have that. And if we have it, it won't be as drastic as 2007. And the biggest thing now is that when people apply for mortgages, there's more restrictions. People who are getting the mortgage are able to pay for it, and it's not a situation where you have these lenders who are, I don't want to say giving away money, but they'll give that away at a high interest rate, and there'll be more risk involved, in case you have like COD credit. And these are the ones that defaulted and the houses were priced too high. And then you have to bring in also, there was a problem with the economy back then. The problem we have with the economy now is that we're coming out of the pandemic. It wasn't based upon anything else, nothing with Wall Street. We should, and as long as we can get people back to work, we should be okay once, we have this pandemic under control. We should be okay. I don't believe, and other realtors and bankers and economists also believe, that it won't be like 2007. Now, you'll find some, guy or gal who will write an article saying that it will be, and they'll give their situations. But if you look at the general reports that are out there, it does not supposed to be as drastic. Okay, so but remember that home ownership is something that is part of the American dream. And here's a nice little video to show you. And with that in mind, you go to my blog and go to real estate with Mr. G blog and go to resource materials, and there you could download, and let me make sure I still have this up here. You could download my selling your house, and this comes out quarterly. So this is the spring edition of it. Soon we'll come out with the summer one of it. So this is selling your home right now. So because we need listings, and I would love if you would I love you anyway, but if you would contact me about listing your house, because we need listings. Okay, and then we also have the buying a home. Okay, they have a lovely mom and daughter there. Nice little picture for Mother's Day, which is tomorrow. And you could download those guides free of charge. I'm not charging you any money. They're free. Okay. All right. So one thing I also wanted to talk about today, I live by Buckrow Beach, and actually it started last week. We have the farmers market going on there, and my producer is actually out there. He was actually out there this morning. Okay, this was like a pre-recorded of Leonard at the Buckrow Beach Farmers Market. Oop, wrong thing. I'm sorry. Okay, Leonard, are you there? Okay.
Chris, I am at the Buckrow Beach Farmers Market, now open every Saturdays from 9 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. Stop by for local fruits and vegetables and other items produced by local vendors. You will have a wonderful time. Then, visit the beach.
All right. So that's right by Buckrow Beach. When you drive there on the Saturday morning, you'll see all the vendors out. You can't miss it. And by the way, there's so much development going on with Buckrow Beach. And there's going to be new planters. They redid the boardwalk. They're going to put in some new lighting system as well. It's going to be really gorgeous this summer at Buckrow Beach, so you should stop by. So again, to make sure that we get out of this pandemic, wear your mask, wash your hands, keep social distance. Please get vaccinated. I think that's the best thing to do. So we could really get back to normal. All right. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. All right. And as I always say, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift, each other. Okay. So I'll see you next week.